Welcome guys to the Meet Damien live stream here. I am Damien, and today's live stream we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and crypto going on, kind of like a little bit of a Black Friday sale is what I titled this video at. But Bitcoin actually did reach a target that we were looking for, and that was the 93K level here. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at the charts, and then I'll take a look at your requests for different crypto coins. And if you guys want to talk about the stock market, we can talk about it as well. But yeah, let's get into it. We're going to talk about my favorite asset here, Bitcoin. Okay, and right now we're looking at Bitcoin trading at $90,800, and around like 9 a.m. Eastern time here, we saw Bitcoin get up to like 93,161 on Coinbase exchange. Bitcoin, as I've been tracking it so far, Bitcoin has been kind of steadily rising up in this rising parallel channel that I drew here, and it's been doing that ever since last Friday. So all throughout this week, we've been making steady gains here on Bitcoin, climbing up to higher prices, and we're coming up on some resistance. This is resistance from like a couple of weeks ago. We saw Bitcoin kind of hanging out near 93K here. So it's to be expected that Bitcoin would kind of like take a break from all this price action that it's done over this past week, and kind of maybe trade sideways here, which it kind of is doing here on the 1 hour time frame. It's been trading sideways since we had a nice little jump here on Wednesday morning, and I mean we're trading sideways, but we are steadily climbing up as well, and we're towards the top of this parallel channel here. And I like drawing this parallel channel here because it gives me ideas like where price could try to drop down and retrace back to, and we've already came down to the middle of this parallel channel, right? They call it the heart line, in the middle of this rising channel here, and we did that this past hour around like 12 o'clock this afternoon here in the East Coast. We saw Bitcoin drop down to 90,200. It might trade sideways here for a little bit, and then who knows, maybe it might drop down further. And if it does drop down further, it looks like it could come down to the bottom of this channel sitting at like 89K. So 89K is not off the table here for Bitcoin to come down to. Also here on the 1 hour time frame, coming down to this green line here on this is the 50 moving average. It could come down to the 50 moving average here at 89,300, okay, on the 1 hour time frame. But let me kind of zoom out here, show you guys what this looks like on the daily time frame here, try to get the big picture view on Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is still, in my opinion, it's bearish, long-term bearish. Short-term, we've been seeing some bullish price action, but on the daily time frame, we're still below the 200-day moving average, which is this red line above us. Okay, and that 200-day moving average is at 109,800. I need to see Bitcoin actually get up to like 109,800 for me to be bullish on Bitcoin again. I just want to do a sound check here. Oh, and I gotta check up on the chat here too. I see DZ's in the chat, and I see Cameron is in the chat. Good to see you guys. But let me finish up on my analysis on Bitcoin, and then we'll start looking at some of these requests here in the live chat. So yeah, I'm still suspicious of this rally on Bitcoin until we get up to like 109, 110K. In the meantime, we could bump our head up against some resistance. Right now, we're kind of coming up against this 21 EMA, this white line, sitting at 93,700. So it's not a surprise to me that we're kind of getting a rejection off this white line. I would like, if we're going to continue being bullish, I want to see us march on up to higher prices here and get above this white line, okay, and actually use it as support instead of resistance. That would be nice to see. Maybe that might happen going into next week, okay? But as we start climbing up to higher prices, we do have previous price action, some levels to look for here, where like around 95, 96K, there is some sideways trading action here. This could be a resistance for Bitcoin. And then also, if we climb up past that level, then we're looking at some more resistance at 102 to 104K here, where Bitcoin was trading sideways in that area on the first week of November here. Okay, so there is some levels to look for which could cause, you know, a rejection or reaction, you know, a violent price drop down when we actually hit these levels. I should probably mark it on the chart here for future reference. But yeah, like around 95, 96K should be an area to watch. And then also here at 102, 104K should be another area to watch, where Bitcoin could get rejected. Don't be surprised if you get, don't get caught off guard if you see Bitcoin hit these levels and then come right back down again. And if it does, you know, we'll see if it's going to still maintain this parallel rising channel to the upside that Bitcoin's been tracking so far for like this past week now. All right, let me get into the chat, see what you guys are saying here. Let me catch up on TikTok, see what you guys are saying here. Thank you, Costa, for following me here on TikTok. Sean says Bitcoin will be more bearish before it goes up. Maybe. And then Robin Sarah is asking me about Caspa. Let me go ahead and put that down as a possible request from you. So we gotta look at Caspa at some point. And I know DZ said something here. I'm gonna catch up on the chat on YouTube as well. But let me just write down Caspa for now. And then let's see, is there any other requests here? I think that's it for now. All right. And then DZ is asking about S2D, Fetch AI, and PNG. All right, let me go ahead and write those down as well. So we'll take a look at SQD and Fetch AI. And then we gotta look at PNG. I also want to take a look at Zcash myself, because I know that was a crypto that I've been in and out of this past week, and right now I'm out of it because Zcash is actually taking a swing down the lower prices at this moment. I actually got knocked out of my spot bag in it as well. I was trying to long Zcash, and I was also trying to short-term swing trade it, but looks like Zcash is on its way down, and maybe I can buy it again at lower prices. I have to see if I like the chart still. But let's get into it. We'll take a look at the Caspa right now, and then we'll take a look at the SQD. Alright, so we're looking at Caspa, currently trading a little bit below 6 pennies. It's at 0.058 pennies right now. We're looking at this thing on the daily time frame. And just like Bitcoin and kind of like a lot of other cryptos, Caspa is, in my opinion, it's in a bear market because it lost its 200-day moving average. You're below that red line. Okay, you lost that 200-day moving average around like September 19th, and you've been trending down, going down to lower prices here. Had a really bad day on October 10th, like a lot of other cryptos. But recently, Caspa is starting to catch some bids here. Okay, so you're retracing back. I would expect that if Caspa was to continue going up to higher prices, you could get some rejection off these moving averages. The 50-day moving average, that green line sitting at 6.5 cents roughly, could be where you get knocked down, maybe make a higher low, and then go up to higher prices here. Then you also got the 100-day moving average that could act as resistance at 7.5 cents, and you got the 200-day moving average, which will definitely it should act as resistance if we do climb up to that red line there, and that's sitting at about 0.078 pennies right now. So there is some resistance that could possibly knock you down here on Caspa. If Caspa decides to just come down right now, I can draw a Fibonacci to get an idea as like what the levels might be if we come down to lower prices right now. You would expect if Caspa is like topping out right now today, and it's going to start retracing down to the downside, you would expect this thing to at least come down to the golden pocket, sitting at about roughly 0.052 pennies here. Another thing that traders might be paying attention to is this 21 EMA below you, this white line sitting at about 0.047 pennies. That's confluent with the 0.382 at 0.046 pennies over here. So yeah, if Caspa decides to come down, you might be able to scoop up some cheaper Caspa around like 4.5 pennies here. Okay, I think that would be a decent area to try to get into. Don't go too crazy, because it could do a full retracement and come right back down to where it was last Friday when we saw it at 3.5 pennies. But this would be an area where I'd be interested in adding to Caspa if I wanted to get some more Caspa. You could probably get some more at 4.5 cents, or maybe you might get lucky enough to get 3.5 cents all over again. All right, moving on to SQD. Let's take a look at SQD. Which one do I want to look at? I will look at on Coinbase. Why not? So I do have some previous chart work here. SQD caught some bids here past couple of days, huh? Looks like SQD came right up to these moving averages here that are starting to show up on the daily time frame. It came right to it. So you can see what I mean when these moving averages on the daily time frame, they act as like resistance and possible take profit zones. Okay, SQD literally came up to the 100-day moving average, that blue line, sitting at about 12 cents. We got up to like 0.123 pennies here on SQD. Okay, so hopefully you were able to take profit at that area, DZ, because other traders were paying attention to that and they decided to take profit at the 100-day moving average. And of course you also came up to the 50-day moving average. But man, oh man, the selling pressure definitely came in, because look at this. You're creating a big giant candle wick to the upside here, and you're coming right back down to like right where you started last night, where SQD was trading at around like 7 pennies. We're basically right back at 7 pennies all over again. Okay, so this is creating what we call in technical analysis world a shooting star candle. It is a price reversal candle. It means that the price is probably done going up, and there's a lot of sellers that want to sell at these higher prices. So there's a lot of selling pressure. I'm expecting if this is going to be a shooting star candle, that there'll be some more follow through to the downside, where SQD could come right back down to like 5 or even 4 pennies here. Okay, so don't be surprised if you see that happening in the next day or two here for SQD. Not the best candle to look to be seeing right here, the shooting star candle, because it is a price reversal candle. It usually means that the price is done going up and now it wants to go back down again. Okay, so prepare for lower prices is all I could say for SQD at this moment. All right, let's see. We have somebody here saying, let's see, any Alan Watts playing over the music you have on? So I'm assuming you like the music that I'm playing right now. I'm just playing this music off of YouTube. Let me see if I can pull it up. You can find it on YouTube. It's called Focus Like a CEO in Your Penthouse. If you're interested, and it's by Chill Music Lab. So go ahead and give them a subscribe if you want to, and you can listen to some of the other songs that they got on their YouTube channel here. Let's get back into the charts here. We got to look at Fetch AI and then PNG. Let's take a look at Fetch AI. I'm actually going to turn the music up a little bit. I kind of like this song. This is pretty chill right here. Fetch AI, what are you doing? You're at 26 cents right now for Fetch AI. We were playing around with the idea on the daily time frame here that Fetch AI could be bullishly consolidating in the bull flag here, but looks like it's breaking down to the downside, or I might have to redraw the bull flag. But I'm just gonna get rid of this, to be honest with you. I mean, if it's not obvious, it's kind of flagging out. Bullishly consolidating at this price. It's pretty obvious that you're doing that right now, but we're actually, we're creating a new flag, I guess, in this case. But yeah, I mean, you can game plan that, yes, Fetch AI is making lower lows, so be wary of that, but you could probably put a stop loss right below the low from Wednesday, where this thing was at 25 cents. Maybe put a stop loss at 24 cents. and you're game planning to see if this thing is going to continue going to higher prices. And if it does, I would expect some resistance from this 50-day moving average sitting above you at 45 cents. It would also, going back to 45 cents, would also be where we were on Friday, November 7th. So it could create a double top over here and then come down. Who knows? All right. But I would be planning to sell Fetch AI at 45 cents. And also keep in mind that this 50-day moving average is a moving target, and it will continue going down as the days go by here. And it might actually be at like 44 or 43 or maybe even 40 cents. And you just got to pay attention to that, because, you know, when we actually see this price get up to like 40 cents, 45 cents, that would be an area probably to sell your Fetch AI. And if you did that, let's see, if we were to try to sell at 40 cents, if we were to buy now and try to sell at like roughly 40 cents, that's about a 53% gain. So that's not too shabby in cryptocurrency world. And if we came up to like 45 cents, that's about like a 70% gain. So not too shabby if we're able to do that here for Fetch AI. Okay, I would consider clicking the sell button. Not financial advice, but if Fetch AI gets up to like 40 cents or higher, I would consider clicking that sell button there. All right, so I didn't really give downside targets, but I think, you know, because we're consolidating here on Fetch AI, you could keep your stop loss tight and put it at 24 cents, or maybe looser if you want to be a little bit more riskier on your trade and still try to stay in the trade. Just know that this thing might come down and it might stop you out at 24 cents. So maybe it might be prudent to like put the stop loss at like maybe 20 or 22 cents and see if it holds. All right. Let's move on to PNG. And thank you, DZ, for keeping me busy with these requests. I'm going to try to look at Zcash after this one. PNG, USD, I'm assuming. Pangolin. Looking at Pangolin right now. Currently trading at a little bit under 6 pennies. At 0.058 pennies right now. Up 4% today. And Pangolin, right, on the daily time frame, it's bearish. It's below its 200-day moving average. It's also even below, or has been below, the 21 EMA. The 21 EMA has been, this white line has been acting as resistance over the last couple of months now, all throughout September, October, going into November here. Every time you try to get above the 21 EMA, you immediately come right below it. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you asked me about Pangolin a few days ago, I would have said, you know, this 21 EMA is going to probably act as resistance, and you can see it kind of is acting as resistance. Until Pangolin starts catching some more bids here and goes up to higher prices, this 21 EMA will continue acting as resistance. But maybe if prices continue going up, we could then start using this white line as support instead of resistance, where we might do something like this, where we kind of come up, come back down to the white line, make a higher low, and then go up. Okay, we might want to see that if we're going to be bullish here. That would actually be a nice uptrend. You could say that you're no longer in a downtrend, especially if you're making higher highs and higher lows here. And if we continue making higher highs and higher lows here on Pangolin and actually climbing up to higher prices, once again, those moving averages above you are going to act as resistance. The 50-day at 10 cents right here, the 100-day at 11.5 cents, and the 200-day at 12.5 cents. Most likely will act as resistance. That's why I like using these moving averages, because I know there's other traders out there that are looking at these moving averages and they're game planning. They're most likely going to try to sell their PNG when it does get up to like the 50-day or even the 200-day. Okay, so good to add these lines on your chart. And also the 21 EMA, right, is a good line to add onto your chart. And I just use this indicator here, the 5 moving averages here. You can pull up on TradingView, and the way I set things up is I put in the 21, the 100, of course the 50, and then the 200 as well. And then I put the colors here: white, green, blue, and red. And that's how I'm able to add these moving averages to my chart, all in one indicator here. Okay, so yeah, might want to add that to your chart so you can see, you know, where potential take profit zones will be for Pangolin here. Okay, all right. Thank you, Matthew, for following me here on TikTok. Appreciate that. Thank you. Harvey Ella says Bitcoin is 70K, rejected off 93. I hope we get a retest. So you're hoping that Bitcoin goes down to lower prices, and if it does, are you gonna buy? And if you think Bitcoin is gonna go down, why not try to maybe short it if you could? There's nothing that says that Bitcoin is going to continue going up to higher prices. We just don't know what Bitcoin might do next year. But I already gave you kind of like upside targets where we could see Bitcoin go up to like 96K or even 102K and then get rejected. But if we get rejected off of 93K and go down to like 70K, then yeah, I mean, could be a good time to enter a short if that's the case, right? You might be getting the highest price you can on your short. Thank you, Edson, for following me here on TikTok and hitting that like button. Let's not forget to hit that like button, guys. And here on YouTube, let's see if we can get the likes to match the amount of people that are watching the live stream right now. Appreciate that. All right, let's take a look at the Zcash. I think I got it on my watch list. I'll just pull this up. Let's see what Zcash is doing right now. Ugh, sitting at $459 right now. Zcash currently trading at $459, down 6% today. Someone in my Discord, I think it was Cameron, pointed out that there could be a possible double top forming here on Zcash, right? Where, you know, Zcash did get up as high as 754 here on November 7th, and then over here it got up to 744 on November 15th, and that might have been the double top. And if it's a double top, it just means that the price is done going up and it's going to probably go down. I mean, it has trying to retrace and come back to like 740, 750. It did that one last time here. It came out to like 715 on November 20th, last Thursday. But so far, it's just making lower highs, okay? Feeding into the case, the bearish case that, you know, we might be going down to lower prices here on Zcash. However, you know, looking at Zcash, we're still above this last higher low here on November 12th, where we were as low as 424 bucks. If Zcash could like stop going down right now, this could be another higher low, and then the bulls might try to take the ball with it and run it back up to higher prices again. But if we were to go to higher prices, I would expect maybe this white line to act as resistance again. This 21 EMA at like 566. All right, and I think 566, that would, you know, that would put you above the highs from here on yesterday when we saw Zcash get up as high as like 554 here. All right, so we shall see. We shall see. It could be just bullshit consolidating, and this might be the lowest price you could get Zcash right now. You can game plan, you know, put a stop loss right below the lows from Wednesday, November 12th here at like 424. And you know, if you're gonna buy now, you know, put your stop loss there. Let's just game plan that out here with a long position here. But if you were to buy right now on Zcash, put your stop loss at like 422 maybe. You're only risking about 7.58% here. And then as far as like how much of a reward you're gonna get, if you can just bring it back to the highs from yesterday, I mean, yeah, I mean the risk reward is close to being 3 here. Sort of a good trade. You'll be risking 7.5% to try and get 21%. But if Zcash can get back up to the highs from like earlier in November, where we saw Zcash at like, you know, 670 or even 700 bucks here. Now look at that risk reward ratio, 7.04. That's a worthwhile trade to take if we're able to get up to those high, get back up to 700 bucks here on Zcash. Cameron wants to take a look at AMD, Amazon, and Meta. Oh, okay. Cameron wants to take a look at the stocks now. We can do that, Cameron. Let's see. Chris Dondas wants to look at Telcoin. So his request came up first. We'll look at Telcoin, and then we'll go take a look at AMD and Amazon for Cameron. But let me go ahead and write these things down so I don't forget. You gotta look at Telcoin. And then AMD, Amazon, and Meta. Appreciate the request, guys. Thank you for keeping me busy over here. Edson is asking me, what indicator am I using? I don't really have too many indicators on here. I'm just using moving averages right now on the charts. I got the 21 EMA is this white line. It's a line that usually follows the price action pretty closely. You can see the moving averages below you. This is the 50-day moving average, is that green line. The 100-day moving average is this blue line, and the red line is the 200-day moving average. And because Zcash is above most of these moving averages, it is obviously bullish, and it was really, really bullish when it was above this white line on the 21 EMA for the daily time frame. But we did lose the white line here last Friday, and this white line could act as resistance. This is the 21 exponential moving average here. Could act as resistance going forward now that we're below it. Okay. All right. I'm not sure if I want to do a further dive into Zcash. I will look at some other indicators. I have some oscillators below here that shows that Zcash is kind of being bearish. You're making lower highs here on the RSI, as well as lower lows. Also, the MACD is showing that selling pressure is increasing. So maybe Zcash does want to go down to lower prices, and if it does, maybe it gets a bounce off the 50-day moving average sitting at what is that 50-day moving average sitting at? I gotta get rid of the indicators here, but the 50-day, that green line is sitting at 246. I mean, Zcash could do a nasty drop and come down to that green line here. And then also here, money flow. You know, on the market side for B indicator, you got the momentum coming down, and you got money flow, which was in the green for the most part all throughout, like, since September. Now it's going into the red here, so maybe the bull run is done for Zcash. Okay, and maybe we should be looking for price targets to the downside. As of now, I would probably plan on that 50-day moving average being a target if you want to short Zcash. Maybe it does come down to 244, which is the same level that it was trading at back here in October. It's kind of sideways for a little bit, so maybe you could short Zcash down to that level if you wanted to. All right, I see Laureen is in the chat. Good to see you, Laureen, over here on TikTok. And of course another guy here that's also on the in my Discord, Cameron. He's over here on YouTube. I usually see Cameron on TikTok though, but it's interesting to see that you're over here on YouTube. Appreciate whichever one you want to view me on. All right, let's move over to, we're gonna take a look at Telcoin. And let's see. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, let me get rid of this Fibonacci. Do I really want to keep this? Nah, I'll just get rid of this. Okay. All right, so Telcoin, what can you tell me, Telcoin? What have you done over the last few days and few weeks here? I have looked at this coin on this chart before. I'm just gonna get rid of some old chart work here. But Telcoin, you know, just looking at the moving averages that are below you, it is above the moving averages. That's good to see. Telcoin caught some bids here. It looks like around November 12th to get itself back out of, you know, anytime you're below the red line, I consider that a bear market. When you get above the red line here, that 200-day moving average, I consider that a bull market. You're back to being bullish again here on Telcoin. And Telcoin did look like it had a pretty good November here, where we got up as high as like 0.007 pennies here. Okay, however, you came down, you lost this, you know, bullish momentum to the upside, but you're getting some support here off of the moving averages below you. You're getting support off of, looks like the 100-day moving average, that blue line, sitting at 0.0047 pennies here. You are getting some support off that level. That's good to see. Hopefully this is as low as it goes, and then we might see it do a bounce and go to higher prices over the weekend going into next week here. Okay, But now I can draw a Fibonacci and try to figure out what other levels there might be to look for here on Telcoin. Okay. So, looks like we've already came down to the 0.5 retracement. Okay. Don't be surprised if it comes down to the 0.382 retracement. If it does, you know, you would think like maybe the 50-day moving average, that green line, would act as support at that area. So I think 0.0043 pennies if you're still looking for some cheaper Telcoin. But if Telcoin does get a bounce from these levels and starts going up to higher prices, you do have 61865 golden pocket at 0.0054 pennies and 0.0056 pennies as an area where it could get rejected, come back down, make a higher low, and then go up to higher prices. And then another level to look for is the 786 retracement at about 0.0062 pennies here. Okay, which is a level that it was kind of like getting some bounces off these candle wicks here. Okay, that might be another area that you might want to click the sell button and try to take some profit on Telcoin here. And then of course we'll see if Telcoin can actually get back up to 0.0072 pennies here, like it did on November 16. We shall see. Chris Donas thinks it's a good project. It probably is. I don't really know too much about Telcoin. I would probably have to do some research on it. Isn't Telcoin related to Telegram? I'm not sure. I thought it was, but maybe I might be wrong on that. We're gonna move on and take a look at AMD in Amazon now. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at those two stocks right now. Advanced Micro Devices. AMD, a stock that you can find on the NASDAQ. Looks like the last price that I have for it is at 217 bucks here. Let me just zoom out. What has AMD been up to? Interesting. I have looked at this almost like a year ago as well. Let's get rid of that as well. Boom. Alright. But yeah, I'm looking at AMD right now, and I'm trying to clean up the chart at the same time. AMD is clearly in a bullish pattern right now. It's been bullish ever since like the first week of April of 2025. And it's been climbing up and to the right, making money for whoever's invested in it. And yeah, just looking at the moving averages, you're above the moving averages, so that's how you know you're in a bull trend here, bull run. However, you did lose the 21 EMA. This stock was extremely bullish back in the beginning of November here, and then it lost its 21 EMA. This 21 EMA usually closely follows the price action as best as it can, but now it looks like if the 21 EMA wants to catch up to the price, it has to come down. And as the 21 EMA starts coming down, you would expect that to act as resistance if we try to climb back up to it again. 21 EMA, that white line sitting at 235 bucks. I would expect there to be some problems for AMD to go higher than that. Okay. It's also a level that we kind of, I mean, we bottomed out here on November 7th, what, two Fridays ago. We came down to that level, so I would expect like anywhere between 220 to 235 to be a problem area for AMD to try to go to higher prices here. That's going to be a resistance zone. Okay, let's see if I can mark that on the chart here, in case we look at this later. Okay, I think I go. Yeah, I gotta go here. So. This is going to be your resistance, okay, for AMD. Show you if I can just, there we go. That's going to be your resistance there. But your support is below you, with the 50-day moving average not too far below you at $191. That's going to be your support. You can see that as soon as we came close to it, we kind of front ran a little bit, but we started catching some bids here when we got to that 50-day moving average or close to it. Okay, so this is where your support's going to be for AMD. And let's see, AMD has earnings report coming out in February, so that's probably an important date to remember. February 3rd here. Could cause this thing to go up or down, all right, depending upon whether the earnings are good or bad. But it looks like, you know, I've seen the earnings report here is in green on November, green here in August. And anytime you see earnings reports in green, that means they actually beat their earnings. Last time they had a bad quarterly, you know, report on their earnings was back here November of 2024, around that time. Yeah. Oh, actually, it was like October, the end of October here. But yeah, you could be bullish here. I would still remain bullish on AMD. Most likely is going to climb back up to this $220 to $230 area, and then it might end up going sideways there until earnings, and then maybe you'll get good earnings that will send this thing up to higher prices here. Let me do a Fibonacci on it. See if there's anything I can find on the fibs here. And I'm just, you know, on the Fibonacci, I'm just eyeballing here, but I'm pulling from this swing low here to swing high. See, the swing low was as low as $149. I brought it down to 150. Okay, I couldn't make it like 149. There we go. And then the swing high here, we got as high as 267. Looks like that was the highest point, so I'll just move that to 267 there, roughly. And now we got some fib levels to look for. The golden pocket is a level that this price usually comes if it's below it, it will come back up to it, and if it's above it, it usually might come down to that level. So that golden pocket is sitting right at the the resistance area that I already drew out. So anywhere between $220, $225 could be a good area to click the sell button on AMD. And and I already marked it off that this is most likely going to be a resistance area for AMD. All right. And then, of course, the 0.32 level at $194 is confluent with the 50-day moving average. That's probably going to be your support for AMD. Okay, something to something to look forward to here if it does come down to those prices. All right, we gotta take a look at Amazon now. Take a look at Amazon. Amazon currently trading at $233. I have already looked at this chart with previous chart work on here. Maybe I might have to redraw the fibs here. Looks like Amazon has already topped out here on November 3rd. We saw it get as high as $258. So I think I pulled this Fibonacci all the way down to like the lows here in April, where we saw Amazon as low as $161. So I'm gonna have to redraw this a little bit, take into account the newer fib levels here, because Amazon has topped out at what? How high was it? 258. Yeah, I gotta draw it down to that level. All right, so Amazon is respecting its own technical analysis, its own TA here. You have come down to the 200-day moving average, that red line, and you got a bounce, a nice clean bounce off of that level there. Okay, and how high could we bounce up to? Probably going to come up to the 786 retracement level at 237. We're only about $4 away from there. You also got the 21 EMA hanging out at 236. So I think 236, 237. Don't be surprised if Amazon gets rejected and then starts coming down to lower prices. And if it does come down to lower prices, most likely coming down to this golden pocket area at 221, 224, which is where you got the 100-day moving average sitting at and the 50-day. All right, so this thing might come up here. If I can draw it out, we'll just kind of like game plan this out here a little bit. Where is my drawing? Yeah, I need my brush. Okay, so Amazon might do something like this where it comes up to like 237, gets rejected off the 786 fib level there, it comes right back down to like 220, 224, gets support off of the 100-day moving average. Okay, it might go, it might not go down there. It might actually just get support off the 50-day moving average, sitting at 227. But those levels are also confluent with the Fibonacci levels here, the golden pocket. So it might come into this golden pocket, get a bounce, make a higher low, and then start shooting up to higher prices and getting past the 786 retracement. And maybe it might revisit that 258 level, like it did here first week of November. So that's just something to look forward to. It's an idea. Doesn't mean it has to play out that way. But Amazon does have support below it with the 200-day moving average. It actually respected that 200-day moving average. So I don't expect Amazon to go below the 200-day moving average at 214. But it could. It could. And if it did that, it'd be, I mean, it would have to be something bearish. There have to be some bad news or something to send it below the 200-day moving average. But if it does, I mean, let's pull up the VRVP indicator here and see what support levels might be below 214 bucks. There is a high volume node here at 205. So if Amazon loses the 200-day moving average, it might get a bounce off of 205, where there's been some people that bought around that price for Amazon here. And then of course you got the value area low. This white line could act as another support area below, and that's sitting at about $195. So there are some levels here, some support areas for Amazon if it does drop down to lower prices here. All right, we have somebody here asking about Total 3. That's looking at cryptocurrencies again. I guess we could take a look at that, and then we'll take a look at Meta, because that was another request that Cameron had. Alrighty, let's look at Total 3 as a request from one of my TikTok guys here. So for those who don't know what the hell Total 3 is, okay, this is the total market cap of cryptocurrencies excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically this is your altcoins that you might have heard about a lot on the news, I guess. But yeah, these are your altcoins. This is the market cap of the altcoins, and it's right now it's at $882 billion. And the altcoin market cap kind of topped out here on October 6th, where we saw it as high as $1.19 trillion. Would be nice if it could go back up to that market cap, because that would help the altcoins go to higher prices here. But as we're looking at the charts right now, you can see that we're below the 200-day moving average here, that red line, okay? And when you're below the 200 moving average, that is, in my opinion, you're in a bear market, okay? When you go below the 200 moving average. So I don't, I'm not expecting this trend to change unless it does show up on the charts that we're gonna, start getting out of this downtrend. Stop making all these lower highs here, lower high, and then also these lower lows here, okay? But looking at the charts right now, if we were to change the downtrend and try to get into a bull market one more time here, we got to get above this 21 EMA. This white line first is acting as resistance at $902 billion. We actually came up to $902 billion earlier today before getting rejected off the 21 EMA. Okay, I want to see a higher low get formed. I don't want to see total market cap Total 3 go down to lower prices again, because if it does, then that means the downtrend is still intact. The 21 EMA is still acting as resistance, and we might see lower lows than we did here on Friday, November 21st, when we came down to like $809 billion. We might see that if this is going to get rejected, okay? But if it doesn't get rejected, right, and we can make higher lows and go to higher highs, then yeah, I want to see this thing get back up to the 200 moving average at the very least. That 200 moving average is sitting at $970 billion. That's also where the golden pocket is on the Fibonacci here, about $977 billion. Okay, I think this is a very important area to try and reclaim if we're going to continue being bullish on our altcoins here. When could that happen? I don't know. I can't give you a price and a target date at the same time. My only guess is that that could happen, you know, maybe later on in December at the earliest. If we continue this uptrend here, it's going to put us into December, where we might see the altcoins become bullish again in December. Maybe we get a Santa Claus rally. You know, not just in the stock market, but maybe we get a Santa Claus rally in crypto before Christmas happens, and then you might see the altcoins become bullish again. Especially if you see, you know, another $100 billion go into altcoins. That would get you above the 200-day moving average, and you can, you know, once you're above that red line, you can consider yourself to be bullish again on altcoins. And I would be cautiously optimistic. I would like to see this thing actually get above the green line here, this 50 moving average, sitting at $1 trillion. I mean, if we can get $1 trillion into altcoins again, people are going to feel a lot better about being in their altcoins, okay? But we shall see. You know, one level at a time. First, let's try to get above the white line. Then let's try to get above the red line. And then we'll try to eventually get above the green line here. That 50 moving average at $1 trillion here. I see Ava Medina is in the chat. Good to see you, Ava Medina. Ava Medina says, subscribe to Meet Damien for your trading insights and market analysis. I go live 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. Yep, guys. So, you know, on the Meet Damien channel right here on YouTube, you can see, you know, when I go live, you just click on these live streams here. You can look at some of the lives that I've done already. If you don't have that much time, you can take a look at some of the shorts here. I do have some videos here for those who don't have that much time, but they want me to, you know, I already analyzed Amazon before in one of these YouTube shorts here. And then I've done like other popular cryptocurrencies like XRP. And of course, I've analyzed Netflix and Tesla, price of silver, price of gold. And I do put up some entertaining videos every now and then because it's my channel. Why not? You know, I had some people that were interested in looking at the monster truck event that I went to about a couple of months ago here. But yeah, I am going to try to release a new video here that's going to talk about what it's like to trade on MEXC exchange. So I'll probably be releasing that video after I'm done with this live stream here. So I got another video for you guys to look at for those who are interested in trading on MEXC cryptocurrency exchange, where they got the lowest fees in the game. As far as some of these cryptos you can invest in are actually there's no fees. And I'll even pull up MEXC real quick here, so you guys can see what I'm talking about here on MEXC exchange. They're perpetual futures. All right, yeah, first I got to get into the futures account, but let me go ahead and do that. As this thing loads up. But yeah, MEXC is a cryptocurrency exchange. Right over here, you see MEXC, but if I can, come on, where's this thing? Why is this thing not giving me what I need it to do? Oh, all right. Okay, can we look at it? All right, yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, you could trade Ethereum, trade Solana, trade Zcash, and there's no fees. There's no trading fees. They want you trading on MEXC exchange. They want the volume, the customers. Obviously, you know, there's some cryptos here that they need to make money on. You can't trade Bitcoin for free. But I mean, with the trades that I do, I'm only paying like $1 or $2, and it's just like the cost of doing business, right? They help me trade and make money. And yeah, I mean, the fees are only like $1 for like some of the trades that I make on Bitcoin. XRP doesn't have, I mean, XRP, they do charge fees on that, but you can see like Sui, Dogecoin, BNB, AVAX, there's no fees to trade those coins on MEXC exchange here. So I don't mind letting you guys know about MEXC, because they do their best to try to, you know, make things affordable here for the traders. All right, back to the charts here. Oh, now I see Cameron's on TikTok here. Cool. All right. We're gonna look at Meta, Facebook for Cameron now. Just turn the music down a little bit there. And we have someone here saying, how do you stop getting stopped out and liquidated? Well, if you're getting liquidated, it probably means that your stop loss is not getting triggered. You should probably put your stop loss a little bit closer to wherever the price is at so you don't get liquidated. So that would probably be the answer to that question. But how do you stop getting stopped out? Getting stopped out is part of the game of trading. It's gonna happen. Most good traders, they have like a 50 or 60, sometimes maybe a 70% win rate. So they don't always win. You're not always going to win your trade, okay? But your losses, you want to keep your losses small so that way it doesn't knock out your trading account. And when I put a stop loss, I put the stop loss so that way it's only going to, if I lose and I'm wrong, and you're going to be wrong, you're not always going to be right. But when you're wrong, you only want to lose about 1% of your account. So if you have like let's say you had like $1,000 account, your stop loss should only take out like $10 out of your account if you're wrong, okay? Because if you only lose $10 and you have like $1,000 trading account, then you can make that same trade 99 more times before you actually blow up your account and lose all your money. And the likelihood of that happening is, I mean that would suck if you did lose that many times, but it's most likely not going to happen because one of the trades is actually going to go in your favor and you're not going to get stopped out. Okay, but yeah, when you put your stop loss in, not financial advice, but some of the best traders that I know, they stick to that 1% rule where, you know, your stop loss should only take out 1% of your account. And then when your trade is working in your favor, you should have like a 3-to-1 ratio where, you know, wherever you get stopped out at, right, your take profit should be like 3 times that amount. So you're always making good money on the winning trades to make up for your losses, if that makes sense. All right, and then let's see, we have some questions here about MEXC. Cameron says, you're having a major issue taking money out of MEXC. You had a long trade on Zcash on November 7th. All right. Then we said we have another question about MEXC here. MEXC is slow when closing trade. You end up in the red all the time. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that. Steel Cut Oat says life savings, YOLO, one stock. That's how it's done. No stop loss, all or nothing. That's a little bit reckless in my opinion. But if that's how you trade, then, you know, and it works for you, by all means, you know, stick to whatever works for you. OK2OK says Monad. He wants to look at Monad as a request. All right. Maybe we can do that. And then Ava Medina is asking about Link, Tau, and Virtuals. Ava Medina, pick 1 or 2 of those that you want me to look at, and I'll try to look at that. You know, pick whatever one you really want me to look at, and I'll try to look at one of those requests you got there. And thank you, OK, for following me here on TikTok. All right, Ava wants to look at Chainlink. All right, Chainlink. All right, well, let me finish up here on Facebook, and then we'll look at Monad, and then we'll look at Chainlink after that. And now I have a question here about trading accounts. If you had $100, what's the best leverage to use and what amount? So leverage let me get into this, all right? Let me see if I can go into the trading account. Leverage, you can use, you know, whatever leverage you need. Usually I would stay, if you're new, it sounds like you're new to trading, but I would probably stick to like 10x leverage or less if I was new to trading, okay? Because the more leverage you use, the more likely you are to get stopped out, because it doesn't take that much for a price to go up or down before you get stopped out. But like if you were to try to do like here on MEXC exchange, like I could do like 100x leverage on Bitcoin if I wanted to, okay? And then I could possibly even do like 200x leverage, okay? But the more leverage you do, the more likely you are to get stopped out, because it doesn't take much for the price to move here before you do get stopped out, all right? But yeah, let's see. I thought I could do 500x on Bitcoin here. Let me see what I could do for leverage on Ethereum. They must have changed the leverage limits here. I remember seeing that you could do like, I mean, you could do 200x leverage on Ethereum if you wanted to, but I remember them putting 500x leverage as a possibility. I think they might have took that off. But yeah, I would say stick to like 10x leverage. Okay. Until you get more comfortable with using higher leverage, and then maybe like 20 or 40x leverage if you find a really good, you know, spot to get in and you do want the extra leverage. Now remember, with extra leverage, you got to pay for that, so your trading fees will be higher. Your your funding fees will be higher if you use more leverage. So let's just say here for Ethereum, right? If I want to get into an Ethereum trade, and let's say I did want to do 100x leverage, okay? I'm not saying that you should, but just to give you an idea, you know, I could move my how much margin I want to use. Maybe like 4% margin, maybe. So I'm only using 38 bucks on this trade with like 100x leverage. And then when you click take profit stop loss, you know, you gotta figure out where you're gonna put the stop loss. I would probably put it at 3009 here. That was like one of the last higher lows here on Ethereum for a long. So if I put like 3009, I'll lose like 60 bucks. I will get liquidated first before I get stopped out with 100x leverage, okay? Now, if I change that leverage down to 10x, okay, then at 3009 bucks, I'm only going to lose $5. I'll still be in, I'll be in the trade up until 3009 bucks, but I'll only lose like $5 on the stop loss, right? As you can see right there. So I would say stick to 10x leverage for now, or less, until you get more comfortable using leverage. Alright, let's get back into Meta. We gotta take a look at Meta. I mean, I answered all these questions here. I didn't even get a chance to look at Meta. But let's look at Meta now. Currently trading at $647. On the daily time frame, we lost the 200-day moving average here on October 30th. After I think a bad earnings report. Yeah, there was a bad earnings report on October 29th. Where they had a negative surprise on their earnings, 84% to the downside of what they were expected to make. So that's no good. And of course, the stock got punished because of that. So anytime you're below the 200-day moving average, you're, in my opinion, you're in a bear market, even if it's like a mini bear market. But it looks like buyers are stepping in and trying to buy Facebook right now, Meta. And if they continue buying it, then I would expect, you know, maybe this rally to get a rejection at that 200-day moving average sitting at 673. So I think that's how high you could push this thing up to before it has to figure out what it wants to do after that. It might get rejected, come back down, make a higher low, and then go to higher prices. It might actually go sideways. Or it could actually push right through that 200-day moving average, maybe get rejected at the 100 or the 50-day before it then comes down to make a higher low and go to higher prices here. I'm just not sure, but you know, it's just an idea here. Let me pull up the VRVP indicator, see what levels we need to be paying attention to here. So this 200-day moving average at 670, there is a little bit of a volume here. a high volume node here, kind of, sort of, not really. There's even higher volume nodes here at 636 and 632. You've already went past that. But if you know, Meta comes down to lower prices, you would expect maybe some support at like 620, 630 here. But if it loses 620, then there's some even more higher volume node here and a value area low sitting at 606. So, you know, if Meta comes down to 606, I would be inclined to buy some at those relatively cheap prices here. And then hopefully maybe Meta reports a better quarter, better earnings report here in February. And then you might see this thing climb back up above the 200-day moving average and get up to this point of control, this POC, this blue line sitting at 714. 714 is a good area of resistance where, you know, Meta was trading sideways here in October before they reported the bad earnings. And it was also trading at that 700 level there, $714 level back here in June and July earlier this year. So you would expect the people that bought here in June and July, they might not be fond of sticking around in Facebook here. They might actually click the sell button when it does get back up to like 714, and that would put them back at break even. They'll be able to get out of Facebook and do something else with their money if they want to. All right, imagination of innocence. What are you saying here? It sure does look like a Black Friday sale is going to get a whole lot better. It might not happen until tomorrow, but it appears the big boys are baking in the next dump. So much for our year-end rally. Does anybody else here see inverted cup and handle? An inverted cup and handle on what asset and what time frame are we looking at? Yeah, Cameron, you know, 500x leverage. I saw that on MEXC, like, I think yesterday or even the day before. I don't know why they changed the leverage limits. Maybe they're having a hard time. I mean, you are borrowing their money when they give you that leverage. So maybe they don't want to do that anymore. Because probably some people are blowing up their accounts maybe with that leverage. An inverted cup and handle pattern on crypto in general. So do you want me to look at like total market cap or something? How do you want me to view that? Laureen asking me, did I see silver today? No. I mean, I can look at it right now and see what silver's doing. I'm assuming if you're mentioning it, it's probably, yeah, it is. Yep, sorry. So silver is making new all-time highs, I guess. Wow, look at that, huh? Silver at $56.39. I don't think it's ever been this high. Let's see. Let's go look at the monthly chart. Yeah, silver's never been this high before. It got up to like $49 in 2011. Back here in the 80s, right? We saw silver at 48 bucks. Yeah. Let me get rid of the Fibonacci here. I can always redraw it later. But this is looking like a nice cup and handle possibly. If silver does come back down to lower prices, it might revisit the $48, $49 level here. But wow, it looks like silver's ready to blast off. I actually had silver myself, and I sold some earlier this year, and it looks like I might have sold too early. Someone said it's a massive cup and handle. Yeah, it looks like it could be a cup and handle pattern going all the way back to like 2011. How many years ago was that? That's like 14 years ago. So you got this huge multi-year pattern here where, you know, silver could do something like this with the cup and handle. Let me get rid of the VRVP for now. But silver, I mean, it could continue going higher, maybe like 60, 65 bucks here. Maybe. And if it does that, then that just means it's going exponential. But if this is a cup and handle pattern, then you would expect silver to kind of come down, make a higher low at some point. Maybe it comes down to 40 bucks. And then it launches. But like, I mean, this is a multi-year chart here. If it does come down to $40, that could happen like sometime in like 2029 or 2030 maybe. and then it launches up and goes higher in like 2033 or 2035, like 10 years from now. But yeah, let's get back into the daily chart here on silver. I didn't mean to do that. Ugh. Well, let's see what it looks like on the oscillators here. Silver is now starting to become overbought. It was overbought back in October and September earlier this year. I'm not sure why. Why is silver getting all these bids? Is gold doing good things as well? Gold's at 4,200 bucks. Not as crazy as silver here. But I mean, silver is just now getting overbought. It could maybe have a crazy rally. Maybe the Santa Claus rally is gonna be silver and gold, silver and gold. You guys remember that song? Yeah, maybe silver and gold is the trade to be in for going into December here. All right, we gotta look at some other coins here. We gotta look at Monad and then Chainlink. USD Monad. There's not that much information on this chart here. This thing recently started listed on Coinbase a few days ago. Is there another chart I could use where there might be more information? Let's see if I can find it on Binance, maybe. All right, so yeah, Monad looks like it's been trading on Binance since October 10th. What a day to start trading. Because that was a really bad day in crypto, and since then it's been downward. It's been heading down. This is a cryptocurrency that has been a good short, in my opinion. Here, you would have probably got stopped out with this little swing high here, going up to like 9.5 cents. But this thing's now trading at 3.5 cents. What do you want me to do with Monad here? It will look better if you flip the chart. And then you'd be like, oh, it's in a bull run, but it's not. It's in a bear market downtrend here. And just looking at the daily time frame, the 21 EMA is now starting to show up here. And this 21 EMA is going to probably act as resistance going forward. Okay. I would be interested in entering shorts on this asset. Every time you get up to the 21 EMA, it should be a good time to short it. Okay, you put your stop loss, a little bit higher, enough to make it an acceptable loss for you. But I would try to short this thing and see how far down it goes. I don't know how far down it's going to go because there's not much data. But you're in a downtrend. What you could do is you could just to plan things out. You could do a descending channel here. Let me see if I can draw that out here. So it kind of looks like you're doing something like this. So if you're going to continue on this downtrend in this descending channel here, maybe you could short and then take profit at like 2 pennies, roughly. And then maybe you go long and see if you can long this until it hits the 21 EMA again at like 3.5 or 4 pennies. And if you just stay in this, I mean, that's how I would trade this asset. Right now, I'd be looking for shorts. I mean, the best time to short was yesterday or even Wednesday. But once you come down here to like 2 pennies, that's when I'd be looking for a long on Monad. Big Chungus says crypto is the lowest on Google search. Are you trying to tell me that people aren't searching for crypto anymore on Google Trends? That's interesting to know. I wouldn't be surprised because crypto has been getting beat up the last couple of months here. It's been taking a beating. All right. We're gonna move on from Monad. We're gonna take a look at the Chainlink for Ava Medina. So we're looking at Chainlink on the daily time frame. It's always good to get the bigger picture view here. And Chainlink is currently trading at $13.19 right now. Below a Fibonacci level that we've drawn, the 0.236 level, important level to pay attention to here. Could be where Chainlink gets some resistance, but also looking at this 21 EMA, this white line, is sitting at $13.97. So if Chainlink gets up to like 14 pennies, be ready to hit the sell button, because I'm pretty sure other people are going to hit the sell button when this thing does get up to like $14 here. Alright. You got to get above this 21 EMA. Stop treating it as resistance. Get above it. Start using it as support to try to go to higher prices here on Chainlink. But yeah, it's looking brutal for Chainlink. You basically did a round trip. You're back at the same prices that you were at here in June, earlier this year. And you even came down to like the lowest low here on June 22nd, where we saw Chainlink at $10.93. You kind of did that here on November 21st when you came down to $11.59. So you kind of made a higher low. That you can say about Chainlink. You did make a higher low, but I mean, pretty much gave everybody a good scare that you could be making a lower low, because it looked like it was on its way to do that before you caught this little bit of a relief rally here on Chainlink. But yeah, I would expect Chainlink is probably going to get sold. Sellers will start showing up again when it gets up to like $14 and $14.45 roughly, around that area. So don't be surprised if that happens. And then to the downside, you know, I mean, I don't want to see Chainlink go lower. I think you've already gotten beaten up enough already, but to the downside, you could come to like 10 or 11 bucks on Chainlink before you maybe try to catch some more bids here. We shall see. We shall see. Right. But yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, I think Chainlink's a good project. I would like to see it go to higher prices. I would like to see Chainlink get above this red line, the 200-day moving average, sitting at 1788. But you gotta first get past 1445 here on Chainlink. Lorraine's talking about Trump and making money off of crypto here. I believe it. He used it to his best to try to make as much money off of crypto as he could. Him and his family. I bet you Barron Trump probably made the most trading off of what his father was going to say and do next on crypto. Imagination of Innocence is saying something here about Japan being the next catalyst for crypto. You said you sold XRP at 227. You don't see it coming back after the dump. We're preparing for an explosive move upward, but all right, that's a way out. Yeah, I'm actually gonna try to hopefully sell some of my rest of my crypto here at higher prices if we do climb back up to higher prices here on Bitcoin and some of these other coins here. And I am trying to get out on the next big pump if that's happening right now, or Santa Claus rally in December. But some of my crypto that I'm holding on to, I kind of wanted to wait until like January to sell, so that way I don't have to pay taxes on it till a year after that. But we're in tricky times here. It's like, do I sell at the highest price now? Is it gonna go higher than where it is right now? Can I wait till January before selling? You know, a lot of questions I have to ask myself in the next few weeks here. Lonnie's asking, how is Bitcoin doing right now? Well, let's take a look. I think I might end the live stream soon. Ooh, let's see, what was Hawaii? Oh, down, yes, yeah. Okay, Bitcoin at 91,200. I think when I first came onto this live stream about an hour ago, we were at like 90,800 or 700, somewhere around there. So Bitcoin has been climbing up since I've been live here. And let me get rid of some of this chart work here. You know, if Bitcoin continues climbing up, 21 EMA, we got to get above that. If we can do that, that'd be very bullish for Bitcoin to see Bitcoin do that. Getting above the white line at 93,790. And then, of course, there might be some more resistance at 95, 96K. And then some more resistance for Bitcoin at 102, 103K. All right, if I zoom out, get some more data here, and I turn on that VRVP indicator, you're going to see the high volume nodes here on the VRVP indicator, where that blue line, that point of control, is sitting at 96K. A lot of people bought and sold Bitcoin at 96K over the past year now. So right now, there's a good majority of people that are underwater, and if Bitcoin goes back to $96,000, they'll be back at break even, and they'll probably click the sell button at 96K and be done with it. Especially if they think, we're going to go into a bear market going into next year. That might be the highest price they can get out, which would be back at break even for them. So that's a level for us to consider here, that they might start selling on us when it gets to 96K. And then another level to look for is the between 102 105K. You got a pretty good volume node there, where you have some other people that bought Bitcoin around June and also here in January. They bought at 102 105K, and they might try to sell and break even on their Bitcoin investment here. Elizabeth, I don't do personal financial advice. I'm glad that you downloaded Coinbase. Not financial advice, but in my opinion, you should probably stick to the high market cap coins. Start off with Bitcoin as one of the first coins to invest in, because Bitcoin, we've all known that it goes up and down, and sometimes it has bad years, but Bitcoin always seems to recover and go to higher prices as the years and months go by here. So I would say start with Bitcoin. Especially if you're able to get Bitcoin at cheaper prices. Let's analyze. How low could Bitcoin go to if it does go into a bear market. Just using the VRVP indicator here, as I start to zoom out, there is another high volume node here at 67K. If Bitcoin goes down to 67K, that might be a good area to get into on Bitcoin. And then if Bitcoin climbs back up to 120K, you're pretty much going to double your money if you're able to buy Bitcoin at 60K and then try to sell it at 120K. Might be something to think about here, okay? But, Bitcoin might go to higher prices, right? Some people were talking about 200K. If you're able to buy Bitcoin at 60K and Bitcoin goes to 200K, that's like a 3x on your investment. It's pretty decent for any investment. But yeah, I would stick to high market cap coins, especially if we're going into a bear market. The bear market is going to be vicious to the low market cap coins and the altcoins. I would say best bet, start with Bitcoin. Then maybe you can dibble dabble in some of the other coins that are high market cap, like Ethereum or Solana. Maybe even get some XRP. I would start with those coins if I was brand new and just getting started in crypto here. Which I think it sounds like you might be a new investor here in crypto. Oh, you're welcome, Elizabeth. And Cameron on TikTok says 70% of his portfolio is in Bitcoin. So yeah, and I know Cameron's a really good trader and investor. So if Cameron has 70% of his money in Bitcoin, or 70% of his portfolio in Bitcoin, that might be something worth doing yourself. Well, once again, not financial advice, but in my opinion, when I first got into crypto myself, I started with Bitcoin before I did Ethereum, and I think I did Litecoin and XRP once I started dibble dabbling into crypto. But when I first bought Bitcoin, I bought it in 2017 at like $3,000 a coin, and I actually bought an entire Bitcoin back in 2017. Yeah, and I also bought some Ethereum when it was at like 200 bucks. And I'm glad I bought Ethereum at 200 bucks, and then I sold it at 3,800 in 2021, and I was able to get a down payment for my house with that money. Imagination of Innocence says he is moving everything to precious metals. You're gonna wait and see while growing your money in the metals. When he says precious metals, for those that don't know, he's talking about like gold and silver. Those are what we call precious metals in the investing world here. I'm trying to catch up here on the comments here. Imagination of Innocence says something about Japan and the value of the yen. They're trying to save it. Yen will temporarily go up as the US dollar goes down. US lending will collapse as they are only trying to offset losses. You might be right about that. And if they continue to lower interest rates, that will also cause the US dollar to go down as well. So maybe that's one reason why you see gold and silver climbing up in price right now. But that should also cause Bitcoin to go up as well, because Bitcoin is a hard money asset. It's very hard for them to create more Bitcoin, and that should cause the price of Bitcoin to go up if the US dollar is going down as well. Thank you, Elizabeth, for following me here on TikTok. Appreciate that. Alright, let's see. So, yeah, I'm just going to end the live stream here, guys. I'm going to just try to give you my last thoughts here on Bitcoin. Let me go into the 1 hour time frame now. And let me just fix the chart here. So, on the 1 hour time frame here, Bitcoin, I've been following it and this rising channel that it started back here on Friday of last week. And it's been, constantly making higher lows as well as higher highs. We're near the top of the channel here. We already hit the 93K level here. If Bitcoin decides to go to lower prices, I would expect it to come down to the bottom of this channel. It might hit like 88 or 89K, make a higher low, and then still go up to higher prices here. All right. If Bitcoin does go to higher prices and it doesn't actually drop down, then I guess that would kind of invalidate this rising channel, and we're not going to be in a rising channel anymore because we'll be out of it. And I do expect Bitcoin to get resistance at 96K based on the VRVP indicator showing that a lot of people bought Bitcoin at 96K all throughout this past year. And I think some people who aren't true believers in Bitcoin, they're going to click the sell button when Bitcoin gets to 96K, and they'll be able to break even if that's where they bought it at. So I'm expecting, resistance, on Bitcoin at 96K. And then we'll just see if we're able to get past 96K, then that's very good for Bitcoin and crypto. And then the next level would be probably the psychological level at 100K. Some people might click the sell button. But then also 102K, 105K is where I think the next problem area is going to be for Bitcoin if it does get up to that price. But that's going to be it for this live stream, guys. I'm glad you came in to watch me here in the live stream. I plan on going live again on Monday, around the same time, between 12 and 2 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, we'll see what the price of Bitcoin is doing around that time, and look at some more crypto and stocks and gold and silver, whatever assets you guys want me to talk about. I'm willing to talk about that and look at the charts here with you guys. And then also be on the lookout. I have a video that I'm gonna release about MEXC exchange. For those who are new or want to get into day trading or leverage trading on a cryptocurrency exchange that has some of the lowest fees in the game. I'm gonna be releasing a video on how to get how to do trades on MEXC exchange. Okay, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it and hit that like button, and also hit the like button right now on this live stream if you can. But yeah, I'm trying to release that video, and I'll see if I can make it a short as well. It's like a 18-minute video, But maybe I can just take the good parts out of it and make it into a YouTube short as well, and a TikTok for you guys as well. All right, that's gonna be it for this live stream. I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care, guys.